I can't wait to marry you.
Hey everyone,
it's Will.
And James. It's been 785 days since we got engaged, so that's more than enough time for us to plan our wedding.
And we're going to talk about some of the first things that we did in getting ready for the big day.
If you watched The Amazing Race, you know that we got engaged in the finale episode, but a lot of time passed from that moment until it finally aired. So there was a lot of things we had to maneuver around to make sure we were tight-lipped about how we got engaged while planning our wedding. But nonetheless, it's been a lot of fun since the very beginning.
The first thing that we did is trying to figure out where we wanted to get married. We obviously live in California and Los Angeles. Our families, your family lives in Florida, my family lives in Texas. Our friends are all over the country. So it was our first conversation of where is this going to happen? So we first started with California and looked at
a lot of
many
different
venues.
Yes.
We Googled and looked at all these different websites at different venues. We toured at least 15 venues here in California. Doing it in California, one of the big conversations that we had was everyone would have to travel. We have a group of friends who live in California, but every single family member, every extended friend, extended family would have to travel to come to California, which California is not cheap.
No.
So it makes just overhead costs for our guests a lot, which would limit who was able to come. And I think the biggest thing for us was our guest list. And we wanted to have a space or a location where as many people as we wanted there were able to come.
So we saw that our guest list had 90% out of state. We felt like it was very important for us to find somewhere in the middle, which tying it into our relationship, if you've been following us for years, we love to travel together. So we thought a destination wedding was perfect.
So we ended up on talking about New Orleans as an option versus one venue that we found in LA that we loved a ton.
It was an old airplane hangar
with a helicopter
on the runway.
It was legitimately perfect for our life, I
Yes.
guess. And so that was where we were. We were doing it at this location versus starting over and looking at New Orleans as an option.
Ultimately, we decided on New Orleans. It was the perfect middle destination for people coming from the West Coast, the East Coast, the Midwest, Southern states. It was just perfect. Not just that, but because we crossed the finish line there, we got engaged there. There was just a lot of sentimental reasons behind our relationship that it kind of all tied up nicely together.
Yeah.
Which meant we would have to make trips to New Orleans. So we went to New Orleans 2 different times to really look for venues.
Some of the criteria that we had for our venue were we wanted an outdoor space. We really wanted to get married outside and have a space where the reception and all of that could take place in a nice outdoor space. The other thing was we really wanted it to not look bougie. We didn't want Roman columns and all this chandelier stuff. That's just not us at all.
And we did see a few of those venues, and as beautiful as they are, it's just not very Will and James.
Yeah, and we also wanted it to be a little close to the French Quarter because that's where the activity in New Orleans is, and there's a ton of venues outside of the French Quarter area. So with that in mind, we toured so many different venues in that small vicinity to try and find something that had what we wanted.
But luckily we ended up finding a venue that not only has an outdoor space, but it also has a really nice large indoor space. So it gives the guests a little bit more flexibility as to where they're going to be most comfortable on our wedding day.
Yeah, and it has this really beautiful red brick around the entire space. It's a
historical
old
space, which is even better. I love history.
Yeah, and we're able to do a lot of stuff creatively to just make it our own space for the reception and the ceremony. So, and it's right in the middle of the French Quarter and 1 block away from where we caught Mardi Gras beads at Bourbon Street and Bienville,
it's
that
right,
corner.
Right in that area.
Yeah.
It really just ties in a lot of things. Yeah. So when you're planning your wedding, I think the main takeaway here is you really just need to have that open dialogue with your partner about what's priority. And then from there, it'll help give you that groundwork of where to start when planning your wedding. Yeah. And really what it comes down to is venue. It's so important to book your venue, making sure they have the date that you want, booking it enough time in advance. And, you know, even though we did book it enough time in advance, we've had to postpone it twice already.
Oh, God. At this point, we would have already been married almost twice. We were supposed to get married in October, and then we were supposed to get married in March. Now we're getting married at the end of this year. So flexibility also key, but decide on what's most important to you. I know for us, it was where we were getting married and the actual venue, and then our guest list. Those were the three main things, and everything else we can just piece together once we have those three things set. So have those conversations are super important, and that's a good place to start.
We have plans to make more wedding videos leading up to the big day, and if you're someone planning a wedding, let us know. If you need any advice, leave those questions in the comments, slide into our DMs. We want to hear from you, and, you know, share up our advice of what we've learned over the last 2 years planning our big day.
Okay, that's the last kiss until we say I do.
Oh, get out of here.